I fell in love with brewing when I was wee, living in Glutenschlagen in the small village of Gruel. My pop used to pick cherry hampers from the wicket trees and olgie blossoms, green myrtles, green bosom picas, and grain chives from the fruit of limtar oaks. He would concoct all sorts of strange and mystical brews. The people of the town would come to him constantly for remedies. He was a doctor without the certification. A very whimsical man, and not too careful. The smoke that bellowed from our home darkened the skies. The sages would say it were storms, but it was my father whom caused electrical disruptions above. Ah, it was more alchemy than wizardry, but the lines blurred at the times, I tell you. My pop taught me all I knew. It was fun and exciting childhood. I was free to pick all the forbidden herbs from across the Gilly Swamp, and no patrolmen say nay, for they knew I'd be brewing up potions for the townfolk. I felt privileged. I felt proud. When I was 15 years old, right after I went through the rite of Pumbaa, as was the tradition of my homeland, Glutenschlagen, I came home to dire news. Nicked at the nape and heels, I was expecting a shower of love from my parents. But I got the right with nary a wound. But alas, my pop was lying in bed with the sweats. My pop instructed me. He told me which ingredients to add, and which to funnel, and which to steam, and which to dazzle, and when to mark, and when to spark. But as the elixir bubbled over and began to spark, I turned my head, and my father was staring at me, and he smiled. He said, "Son, that's the hardest one to brew, and yet I know ye will be able to master it one day." It took me a lifetime. Too frail to get up and brew himself, he closed his eyes and told Mum and I to run. We did. The brew I made in haste was an error. My entire house blue, purple, green, and brown liquid trailed from the destroyed home and seeped into the ground. Steam and smoke erupted from the soil. We ran to the boats and sailed away. We watched as Glutenschlagen sank to the bottom of the ocean. I brewed to perfect my art. I brewed to help the world. And I still have yet to perfect the master's brew, which tore apart my country. I worked tirelessly so. Go to brewmaster.glutenschlagen.com. I have many herbal remedies to provide your family. It will restore the little one's health to full so they can get back to work. I have elixirs for the shakes, nanny nightmares, and many more. Money will go towards completing my father's legacy of becoming the brewmaster of the galaxy. All remaining proceeds will go towards the invention that I'm trying to create in order to lift Glutenschlagen out of the sea and back to its former glory. Schlaggy, come here! Aye! He must have gotten into my shock brew.